So I did a bit of research. Thought I'd share that with you for those of you that don't know about Web 3.0. And Anthony, you can correct me if I'm wrong in this case. So,
No, I'm sure you have done more reading about this than I have. I just know
oh,
that
really?
it's 3.0. 3.0 is bigger than 2.0. It must be good.
Right. Okay. Well, to start off, right, when with the internet launched, we effectively saw something called Web 1.0, right? It doesn't get any better than that. 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. 1.0 is effectively any static pages you go in to read and then get your info and come back out. With 2.0, it started around the 2000 mark. People and anyone could go in and create content for themselves, right? Think of it as like Wikipedia, think of it as Facebook, Twitter, right? These sort of social media sort of grew with Web 2.0. Anyone can go in and do that. Before that, it was only done by very, very limited people. So that was a big shift with Web 2.0 and Facebook. Web 3.0, however, now talks about a distributed ledger technology. In other words, it talks about blockchain and how information is not stored in one central server, but stored effectively across the globe on many, many devices. Think of it as cryptocurrency, but instead of money, it was information. So I thought that's really interesting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm trying to imagine a decentralized Facebook or Instagram, right? But I don't think that's the immediate purpose that comes to mind.
No.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us more? How are they looking at building it, right? Or how what's the thinking behind how this will work?
Yes. So I mean, I would say that what 3.0, what it's looking at is threefold, right? Three things that they're looking at. One is to be open, two is to be trustless, and three is to be permissionless, right? So they're built effectively on open source. Anyone can go in and develop it and access it. Number two is that because it is so decentralized, it's trustless while at the same time more secure, right? Because in order for you to
Yeah.
find, say, for example, a health document, right now you would go to a central server, probably, maybe a government, and you go into that server and you find it. Whereas with Web 3.0, this health document is stored in maybe 1,000 devices, and you need a code in order to access it, right? So and this
Yep.
1,000 devices could be across you, me, any Tom, Dick, and Harry, except that we don't have the full piece of information. Only once you have the code will you then be able to view your health document, or somebody else will be able to view their health document, right? It's very much the same as cryptocurrency, except in the form of
Yeah.
information. For me, that's very new, right?
No, I mean, it really just sounds like crypto concepts or even metaverse concepts put in a different name, right? I mean, my thinking, at least for now, is that all of these seem to fall under the umbrella of Web 3.0. So it's just a descriptor of the next generation of the internet. But really, what we are talking about are blockchains and cryptocurrency to facilitate transactions on blockchains and using DLT to secure and to share information, right? And of course, with the metaverse, it's also partially being able to communicate across different platforms. So, for instance, you could take your Facebook data and transmit that across to Twitter, right? And there's no more walled gardens, which the Chinese are doing. So maybe the Chinese are leaders here. But yeah, I mean, what part? I do have a question for you though.
Yeah.
So I think so. What's the point about all this? Is it about getting back control, or is it about trust? Like, what do you think is the big factor that actually makes 3.0, I guess, an upgrade to day-to-day users like us?
Yeah, well, I think, the question about privacy really pops in here, right? That's the way that I look at it. That's my thinking, right? Privacy right now is held with a few people, right? Facebook has a big privacy issue, and we've known that for for how many years now, right? They have literally all the data. But if someone, for example, hacks into SGH, right, Singapore General Hospital, or to their servers, they get all our health data, and that's really, really sensitive. And we're relying, in this case, right, of course, on the Singapore government, et cetera, et cetera. But what happens if it's a third party holding this data? For example, a private hospital. And I'm using hospital records because they're very, very sensitive. But it could stem from anything from that to your passport to, cryptocurrency, for example, is another one, or your banking details. That's another key point, that now it's held in your bank server. When with Web 3.0, it'll be effectively everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So it really helps with privacy, and that's the way that I see Web 3.0 helping. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think I'm the philosophical guy, right? So right now I think about Facebook as me giving up. I'm the product, so I give up my personal information. I get service in return. I get a service in return. That's okay with me, I guess, to be plugged into a social network. But I think what I would like is to split the revenues or to split the cash flows a bit more evenly, right? So if I could give my information up willingly and get paid for it, right? Because somebody's repackaging it and selling that and earning a profit. So if I could get a cut of that, right? I think that kind of helps deal with the privacy issue slightly, because then you are not giving up your information and what's precious. And personal information is precious, right? Coconuts, please remember that. Don't give out information for nothing. But instead of just a service, you get a service and some cash. That's great, right? It's a fairer way of sharing the rewards, I would say. Bad as a Facebook shareholder, but oh well, I'll sell it sooner or later anyway.
Got it. Yeah, and I think that's what they mentioned by properly compensated, right? As of now, right, for coconuts out there, we give information, and it is a transaction, right? And in all fairness, for me, that's fine, because you're getting something in return. What you're suggesting, Anthony, is that with Web 3.0, what we can do is not only will our data be packaged, of course, without our names, without all the sensitive data in a law of large numbers, or data table, if you will, but whoever uses that information, we will get a cut from it. And this is possible through Web 3.0, right? Yes,
and I think just for information as well, it's beginning to come into play. So you can do more research if you want. There's this cryptocurrency called Basic Attention Token, right? And it's a currency. You can download this web browser called Brave, and essentially every time you click on an ad or an ad is displayed to you, you get some token in return, and you can sell that token for money.
Brave token.
Basic attention token, so BAT.
BAT.
And it's tradable on Gemini and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we are on the cusp of change. I've tried it. You get very, very little rewards. Hopefully it becomes
for now. It's gonna start somewhere. Right?
Yeah, but it's a start. And I think it sounds good. I just have never bothered using it, but sounds good in theory.
True. No, but I think that's great, right? Because our data is being used, is being stored, and is being, to a certain extent, manipulated even. And I think, firstly, data privacy is important, but number two, getting compensated for it is definitely possible. Of course, it's not good for, like you mentioned, the shareholders or for the wealthy, but I think it's definitely into the good step. I have a question for you, though. Since with Web 3.0, when do you think this could effectively come into play? I know you said it started already, but when is the tipping point?
I don't know. I think I mean, look, we kind of went through the 1.0 to 2.0 phase, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very fluid. Just one day everything clicks and go, yes, this is how it's meant to be used, right? And everybody accepts that, and it's just common knowledge at that stage. I think it'll be the same, right? Our technological advances are never really about they are small steps, but one day everybody just knows it, and that's the way it will be. It's just a matter of getting enough people. I think that the tech needs building, and the tech will probably take 5 years. I mean, look at Google Glass, 7 years ago, and with the Ray-Ban AR VR glasses, right? We have made so much progress that there will be more progress that can be made. So yeah, I think within the decade, we will have something, we have a different version of the internet, right? And whether that's 3.0 or 3.5 or 2.8 or whatever.
4.0, we don't know what's going to be yet. Yeah.
4.0 is too soon, right? We need to get to 3 first. but yeah, I think we will get there in the decade. We will get something very different by 2030. I just don't know who wins and how I can make money off it, but that's something to think about.
Nice. Well, new passive income stream to note.
Yes. Retirement job. Click on ads.
Yes.